Hey guys, El Flamingo here, your coach of Forex Attack. Today we have a new team reveal for the PDPL, which is the Pokemon Draft Premier League. I've been invited to participate in this, so I'm quite excited. There's lots of really good coaches, and I'm hoping that I can put up a fight, and be awesome if I could win the whole thing. So let's go through my team. So we're using the Forex Attack logo for this league. Um, so I was lucky. Let's go through my plan. So I was lucky enough to be first overall pick. So my thinking for that was I kind of want to build upon what I did in the UGA. Part of what I part of the weakness for my team in the UGA, while I had some strong mons, was I started off building a Dragapult team, and then halfway through changed to building a Celesteela team. And I was kind of left with these two half teams rather than a complete team. So I kind of wanted to build on top of one of those two mons. And then I wanted to fill the main roles to help support whichever Pokemon I was going to choose. And then at the end of the draft, I was just going to fill in what types I didn't have or resists I didn't have, maybe some combos, that sort of thing. So I had first pick overall. My first pick was Celesteela, so the big steel boy. So went with that. I was more comfortable with Celesteela than I am Dragapult. And since this is such a competitive league, I thought that's probably the best route to go. It's really bulky, which kind of plays into my play style. I like to keep things really fat and hard to take down. It's also quite versatile. We can run a physically offensive or specially offensive set, can even run a stall set. So gives me quite a bit to work with there. And really, I made this the centerpiece for my draft. So after this, I started filling out some roles rather than typings. And two things that started being taken off the board real fast was redirection and prankstermons. So my second pick overall and on the wheel was Lipard. It's just a really good support mon, and it works really well with the Celesteela. It can support to make my team more offensive with things like Fake Tears and Screech, or can support it to be more defensive. So things like Charm, even Weathers. Weathers can work both offensively and defensively. Um, and then I've also got Prankster. Sorry, I can't be taunted from a Prankster mod. So that's really, really nice with that dark type in there. So my next pick I've never drafted before, and I've always wanted to use it, but I'm not sure how good it actually is on this team. I might actually look at trading this in the future, and that's Tangela. So Tangela lets me use the Eviolite. I always like to have at least one Eviolite Pokemon on a team just because I can. And so it provides me with some redirection through Rage Powder, which isn't the best. Follow me, definitely superior, but it's still something. Has quite the usable special attack as well. I think it's base 100, so it can do damage, and then has some really cool sort of supportive options as well. Probably my most expendable mon on the team. So if it's not putting in work, if I find I'm not bringing it, then I might get rid of it. Maybe pick up something a little bit more offensive. So next on the wheel, I wanted to fill out some more roles. So not going very offensive yet. So in UGA, I had Mashana as my Trick Room Center, and I often found myself not bringing it just because of Fake Out. So I went with Cofagrigus this time. We've used Runerigus in the past, but never Cofagrigus. So it gives me a Ghost Trick Room Setter, which means I can't be faked out, which is very handy. It can be supportive or it can be offensive. It has some really good supportive moves, things like we used in the past with Runerigus in, I think it's Power Split. Love that move. Will-O-Wisp has just a really good move pool, both offensively and defensively. And it has base 95 special attack, so it's very usable. Could even be like a weakness policy mon this one, just with that 95 base special attack. Okay, so the other mons that were being taken up at the during the, I think, the third leg of the snake was lightning rod users. So I wanted to get a lightning rod user before they were all taken. So I went with our good old friend Minetric. It's much cheaper than the alternative. Things like Raichu cost 75 points. This only costs 25 points. Um, and since its main thing is the lightning rod, I didn't really want to take a tier 2 lightning rod user. So I went down and plucked it out of tier 5. Um, Good at protecting Celesteela and my other electric weak mons. It has some real good supportive moves. Things like Snarl and Howl and Thunderwave, which I love using all those moves. So then on our next wheel pick, I wanted to have something a bit more offensive that could pair well with the Celesteela. And I've never used this guy before, but I think he's pretty cool mon, and that's Seismitoad. So Seismitoad is the mon I'm most excited for in my draft. Um, Again, it can be physical or special. Not that it has great in either, 95 and 85 respectively, but has really good type synergy with Celesteela. So Celesteela is weak to fire and electric, and Seismitoad resists fire and immune to electric. So that's pretty sick. And then it's got a 4x weakness to grass, which Celesteela has a 4x resistance. So it has quite good type synergy with the Celesteela. And it has Swift Swim, which I can set up with my Lipard, and it just goes fast and can put in big work. Um, Next, I got sniped on my next pick. I was really looking to have Entei on my team as my fire type. But I decided to go with Rotom Heat since I got sniped. So, another Rotom form. Something completely different for me. I think out of the 10 or so drafts I've done, I think there's been 2 drafts where I haven't got a Rotom form. So, really keen to give Rotom another go. Again, has real good type synergy with Celesteela. What's Celesteela's weakness? Fire and electric. What does Rotom resist? Fire and electric. Doesn't work the other way around. Rotom being weak to rock and water. Celesteela doesn't resist that, but my boy Seismitoad does. So that's really cool there. So getting some type synergy against my more offensive mons on the defensive side of things. So next, on my wheel pick, I thought I got Seismitoad, I got Celesteela. I should look at getting a Rainmon. I've used Politoed before in the past, so I decided to go with Pelipper. I'm still not 100% sure if I want a Rain setter or a Drizzle user, I should say, but we'll give it a go. And if I find myself not bringing it or it's just not doing work, then I'll probably trade it out because it is a tier 3, so I could get something a bit more offensive there. And it supports the Celesteela and Seismitoad really well, and the Manectric helps with the 4 times electric weakness. It can give you some speed control, has Tailwind and Icy Wind, but as I said, like it could be a bit redundant with Lipard. Lipard's got Prankster Rain Dance, so I could get rid of this. And as I said, they're potentially expendable. Next pick I'm super hyped for. Never used it before. It actually works quite well on this team, I find, and that is Como-O. Como-O. And probably my most base pick. The 4 by Fairy weakness hurts a lot, but not every team has a good Fairy type. Like there's some teams with Clefairy as their Fairy type, or Togepi, or something like that. So it could definitely put in work in those games. It's very bulky, similar to Celesteela. And again, running theme with my team, is it going to be physical? Is it going to be special? Also gives me a really good way to set up. It just has such a plethora of moves they can set up with. It has its signature soul, whatever it's called, that is an Omni Boost, has Dragon Dance, has Belly Drum, has Iron Defense. So it can do a lot of really cool setup. Last 2 picks on the wheel, I thought let's just try and fill out some resists that I think I need, as well as maybe some niche sort of roles. So my first pick is Tauros. I got Tauros mainly because I wanted another ghost resist that wasn't Lipard, and it's immune to ghost moves. It's a low tier Intimidate mon, which is really nice. Unfortunately, it is my fastest mon at 110 base speed, which isn't fantastic. I normally like to get something in those 130s, but I think my team's fat enough that I don't need to worry about that too much. It can be offensive or it can be fast support. And like its move pool is just absolutely crazy, both on the physical and the special side. Not that you use its special attacks very often, but it does have sheer force. So like you can get some sheer force boosted blizzards or fire blasts or something like that, which actually can do a lot of damage with Tauros. Um, so my last pick, I wanted another dragon resist, and I wanted another ice resist, just so I wasn't what's the word I'm looking for? Tunneled into using just the two mons I had to do that job. So I was looking at Wigglytuff, not that it's an ice resist, but it gave me a fairy type. Decided against it in the end, and I'm going with Kling Klang. It could be redundant with Celesteela, but only time will tell. It does form some cool two mon cores, which I would love to bust out in the future. It does resist that ice type, does resist that dragon type, which I wanted. And it's a secondary trick room setter that's fast, which I quite like because you can put it next to something and either trick room or max it and start doing things like max strikes, or max the opposing mon and start doing max airstream. So you've got kind of a few forms of speed control that you can do there. And again, it's probably one of my most expendable Pokemon. So you probably won't see Tangela, Pelipper, and Kling Klang by the end of the league, but we had 24 hours that we could do trades in, but I thought I'll just leave it, see how it goes, see if they pull their weight, / if I even use them. And if I find that I'm not using them or they're just shit, I'll probably trade them out. So that's my team. Super stoked with it. There's so many good players that I'll be going against. So I feel this team works into how I like to play, and that is incredibly bulky. It's faster than most teams I draft normally, and also slower than most teams I draft. I normally have like a fairly solid trick room mode with like 2, maybe 3 mons. In this, I've got like 1 mon, and then I normally have something that's around that base 130, and I just don't have that this time. But I think that's okay. So games start beginning of April. That should be. So I look forward to doing that. My first match is against Dan, aka Stout Gaming, who we played in the Great Lakes Draft League, and we lost both times. So hopefully I can get some revenge there. He's got a really cool Metagross team that has some real threatening options into my Celesteela. So we're gonna have to work around that. And I think I'm going to start doing some laddering videos again because Dan, aka Stout Gaming, has been doing some laddering videos, and I think it'll just help with my being able to commentate while I play rather than just having boring silence all the time. So I'm going to start putting in some laddering videos using the team I took to Brisbane Regionals. Spoiler, I went 3-3, came like 37th, 36, something like that out of 61. So I didn't do as great as I was hoping, but given that my prep was minimal, maybe doing some of these laddering videos will help me just do a little bit more prep. So that's it, guys. I will have my battle with Dan come early April, and I will see you all then.